The Philadelphia Eagles keep making moves as his former 2025 undrafted free agent has signed a multi year deal with the Eagles, and this could be a huge piece to restoring the special teams and going with an out of box method to try and improve that side of the football. We'll break down this player and what the reason was for signing him to a 2 year deal. How's it going, guys? Alex Brooks back here with another episode of Eagles Digest. Hope you guys are having a great day so far. The Philadelphia Eagles are making some more moves to improve multiple positions in regards to their team for the 2026 season. But before we get into all of that, we currently see that we are at 2,041 subscribers on the channel. Our goal is to be at 3,000 subscribers. So if you guys want to tune in to our videos on a daily basis, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell so you're notified of all of our videos. We're going to be going into this month of April. We're going to be talking all about the NFL draft, and it's going to be right here on Eagles Digest, the number one source for Eagles news. But getting right into this episode, as I mentioned before, the Eagles have another signing, and they are signing linebacker Chandler Martin to a 2 year deal per his agent. And this is a very interesting signing because he was a undrafted free agent who did end up going down with an ACL injury. So the Philadelphia Eagles are probably looking at this as a, more of a developmental project to get someone in here that can recover during his first year on special teams and see if he can take that leap to the defensive side of the ball. And the reason why it's very interesting is we got this from Ruben Frank on NBC Sports Philadelphia, saying that he spent 2020 through 2022 at East Tennessee State, where he had 103 tackles and 3.5 sacks in 18 games. And he transferred to Memphis, where he spent 2023 and 2024. He was named to the American Athletic Conference first team in 2023 after recording 17 tackles for loss with 2 interceptions. He's someone who's going to add linebacker depth behind Jeremiah Trotter Jr. and Small Munden. From Georgia, who were 5th-round picks in 2024 and 2025. And he also has the ability to be a really good player on the special teams. This is someone who is a very physical linebacker who is looking for a chance to prove himself. And I think this 2 year deal is something where you look at this as an investment for this Philadelphia Eagles team. You're looking at this as someone who is trying to kind of come back from that ACL injury, but give him some more time to develop in 2026. And then when it comes to 2027, it's going to be the ground running to try to make the roster and also try to make an impact on the Eagles defense. So when we look at just what he was in the NFL draft, because he was an undrafted free agent, this was Lance Zierlein on Martin's abilities as an inside linebacker, saying he is a banger at inside linebacker. He's been a consistent tackle collector over the last 3 seasons, playing with violence and instincts teams look for inside. So he's going to be someone who is going to be on the inside, possibly as someone who could be a really good backup behind Jahad Campbell and Zach Bond. Regarding, just switching out the defenses under Vic Fangio. And his lack of length shows up at times as a tackler, and he will lose some ground in pursuit when he runs a spill wide, but he's capable as a blitzer. And I think that's something the Eagles are lacking right now, knowing that they lost Nakobe Dean. They probably want to see someone who, has a chip on his shoulder, see what he can bring in to the 2026 season, knowing if you can try to replicate the Nakobe Dean pressure with a cheaper out-of-box method, because the Eagles have done this in the past. They've signed guys on an undrafted free agent, and they've had some success when it comes to those types of guys. I mean, Nakobe Dean was a 3rd-round pick. He was a projected 1st-round pick after he went down with his injury. So the Eagles have been down this road before, and they wouldn't just sign him to a 2-year deal if they didn't think that he had any sort of, potential when it comes to making the roster, whether it's special teams or making an impact on the defense. But remember, I mean, Nakobe Dean was primarily on special teams because he was dealing with an injury, and then he became a really good linebacker next to Zach Bond in 2024. So it took him a couple years to get him locked and loaded to be a really good linebacker in this league. So I think the Eagles are kind of trying to go down that road again and trying to really trust their coaches and trying to develop this guy to be a really good contributor, whether it's on special teams only or someone who could fit a really good position as a backup linebacker in this league. But this kind of reminds me of the Philadelphia Eagles and what they are looking for in their linebackers. And, kind of looking at this linebacker room right now, I mean, you have Zach Bond, Jahad Campbell, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., Small Munded, and Chandler Martin. So there is a good chance that the Eagles end up getting another guy in here just to fight with guys like Small Mundin and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. But I think when you're looking at this linebacker room, I don't think there's anything that you can really do to like make a, big splash at that position. I think the Eagles are pretty deep when it comes to their linebacker position. So Zach Bond, Jahad Campbell, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., and Small Mundin are definitely guys that I would really trust as being those top, those four linebackers, and they could come in, whether it's Trotter Jr. or Small Mundin, to play really good minutes for the Philadelphia Eagles. So let me know down in the comments what you guys think of this linebacker room, because I definitely think it is a really deep room and it's something that the Eagles really pride themselves on. And finally, getting some linebackers here in Philadelphia. But, moving over to the conversation of best undrafted free agents of all time, because the signing of Chandler Martin just got me thinking about who is the best undrafted free agent of all time when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles. And these guys really reminded me of, how the Eagles are able to take a chance on these types of guys. And they've had success with these guys in big moments. When it goes over to this list, it's not in order of who I think is number 1 to number 5. These are just some guys that I was researching and seeing who could be the best undrafted free agent of all time. So it goes over to Herman Edwards. He obviously is someone who had a really good, solid career for an undrafted free agent, 33 interceptions with the Philadelphia Eagles, a very good defensive piece in that Philadelphia Eagles locker room back in the day. And I definitely think that he is, up there as being one of the best undrafted free agents of all time for Philadelphia. Then when it goes over to Chad Lewis, he had 10 seasons with the Philadelphia Eagles, over 2,000 yards and 23 touchdowns. He was also a 3-time Pro Bowler and a Super Bowl champ with the Rams. So he has had a solid career for someone who was an undrafted free agent. Then when it goes over to one of my favorites, Corey Clement, I knew he was going to be a stud, but having him be a stud in that 2017 year, going out there and having 100 receiving yards and a touchdown in the Super Bowl, just was something that, like, it was storybook. That whole season was storybook, and knowing that he had a part of that Philly special with Trey Burton, snapping it from Jason Kelsey to Corey Clement, then going over to Trey Burton, then to Nick Foles. That was a very storybook play, one of the most iconic plays in Philadelphia Eagles history. And he had a very big impact on that game. The Eagles do not win the Super Bowl if they don't have Corey Clement on that field. And outside of that 2017 year, he didn't really have much of an impact, but Eagles fans will never forget 2017 Corey Clement. And then when it goes over to Greg Ward, another fan favorite wide receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles, he was very consistent in his 3 seasons, 2019, 2020, and 2021, kind of just being that bridge to going over to DeVonta Smith and AJ Brown. The Eagles, they were looking for anything at that wide receiver's position in 2019 and 2020. And Greg Ward was consistent throughout. He wasn't the best guy on the field, but he was there and he was able to grind and be a really solid guy in that wide receiver room. And he had 10 touchdowns, 768 yards in his career with Philadelphia, 3 seasons. So a very solid player, and I'm going to put him up there as best Eagles undrafted free agents of all time. And then when it goes over to edge Greg Brown, back in the 1980s, he had a 16 sack season in 1984, and he also is 7th all-time in Eagles history in sacks. So him being an undrafted free agent, it's wild. People don't really talk about him that much in Eagles history, but he definitely deserves his flowers as being an undrafted free agent who made an instant impact, especially with that 16 sack season in 1984. So let me know down in the comments what you guys think is the best Eagles undrafted free agent of all time. Did I miss any that you want to talk about? Comment down below and let me know your thoughts on the Eagles undrafted free agents. But that is going to do it for another edition of Eagles Digest. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we're going to have more coverage when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles. So stay tuned for all of that. And as always, let's go Birds.